Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Managing Partners podcast, where we talk to America's top lawyers about what they're doing to grow their practice. And today I have Karel with the legal team with me. Hey, Karel.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. So I see your logo in the back. I like that a lot. That looks really nice.
Yeah. It always reminds me who we are. Why I actually came up with a name because it was I'll tell you a little bit of why that name.
Cool. Yeah. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Perfect. So again, my name is Karel Suarez. I actually was born in Cuba. I came from Cuba when I was 19 years old. I went to law school my first year in Cuba, and I decided that I wanted to become an attorney, but I wanted to become an attorney in the United States. My mom said that's a great idea, but we don't have anybody in the United States. Get me to the United States. So I went to Mexico, crossed the border, came here, started living with some friends, the family, and worked at restaurants at the same time that I was going to school until finally, after 10 years of going through undergrad and going through law school, I became an attorney. So after 10 years, my next goal was to have my own firm, right? So I actually work at big firms. I learned a lot from them, and 5 months, 6 months during the pandemic, actually, I decided to go on my own and open the legal team.
I did not know all that. That is an incredible journey. Wow. Number one, to want to move to another country, that's incredible. And that takes so much resilience. So congratulations.
And a different language, because I actually didn't know, I would say 15, 14 years ago, I didn't know a word in English. So it was not only coming to a new country, but it was that idea of I wanted to become an attorney, which was, maybe if I wanted to become a doctor or an engineer, it gets a little bit, I'm not saying that it's easy, but it gets a little easier than actually work, becoming an attorney, because what you do is you talk and you write in a different language. So, it took a lot of, crying time and desperate time. I also didn't have any family here. So it was tough at the beginning, but I did it, and I'm so happy to share with others so that they can see it's possible, and the American dream is still alive.
Good for you. That's amazing. Like you said, a different country, different language, and then legal language on top of that, right? So
yeah,
that's not easy for Native Americans to understand, things like contracts and whatnot. So wow, that's crazy. Good for you. So you opened your firm in the last few months?
Yes, I did. So I at some point during the pandemic, I was a lot home. I had a lot of time in my hands, and I realized, man, I think I can do this. I can do this. And I also realized that I had learned some skills, like networking skills, during law school and during my first year as an attorney. I have learned social media skills and social media marketing. And I said, listen, if this is not the time to do it for a solo guy to actually go on his own and open a firm with other people, and need an office with a nice view. You just need your heart. You just need to show people that you are genuine, that you care about them. This is the time. This is the time to do it.
That's fantastic. And that takes a lot of guts as well. So, already you're like doing like really well in my book, moving to America, learning the language, learning the legal system, starting your own business during the pandemic. None of those things are easy at all. Most people in a pandemic, they just hunker down, right? And they get, like, if they're out of work, they go get whatever job they can. And you decided to go all in on your own, on the legal team. So that's awesome. And let's hear about the name a little bit.
So I always, for me, becoming an attorney was more about, of course, as an attorney, we made money, but I just made it a post the other day. It's more about that personal relationship that I have with my client, that touch or that thing that I do for them that will change their life, or will take them, some of their money back, or that relationship is what I want with my clients. And the reason the legal team is because, let's say, the big companies like, the Apples, the Walmarts, they have a legal team department that is like 2,000 attorneys in their, in their department that work for them. Some of the companies that I represent, they are not big enough to have me in-house. So I want to become the legal team of each of those companies, even if it is a small business. I'm your legal team. I'm that person that is going to be there at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, at whatever time you need me to be. And that's another thing. I don't want to be their attorney. I want to be their counselor. That person, or how I guess used to be back in the days of the doctors and attorneys used to be part of the family. It was not like, like a mechanic that you go and fix, and let's say you go and mechanic doesn't see you anymore until you have another issue. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that you call for even personal anything, for anything that you want, a legal representation or a legal advice. I want to be that person. That's why the legal team.
It's so important too, because I know, like, I have an attorney that I've used for 5 or 6 or 7 years, and certainly several years ago, if I was ever in kind of like I want to say a pickle, but like, just a situation where I wasn't really sure the way to go forward, I'd meet with my attorney, and I'd come out of that meeting just like relieved. It's so nice to be able to talk to an expert and they give you that expert advice, and they're like, don't worry, Eric or whoever, everything's gonna be fine. Yeah. We got a plan. So yeah. How do you convey that you can do this for potential clients before you maybe even like meet them? So you mentioned like social media, like how do you convey that you want that personal relationship with them?
So what I did, I actually went old school, right? So because again, I went on my own. At that moment, I had 0 clients, right? At that moment, you're like, all right, now it's time to find clients, right? Time to do something in order to expand that clientele. So I went old school, and I went through all my contacts on my phone. I went through all my contacts on Facebook, all my contacts on LinkedIn. I started reaching out to them, most of them that were local. And I said, this is, during our craziness, I said, listen, let's meet for lunch. Let's meet for coffee. Let me just hear about your company. Also, I went through all them that either own a company or have some, share on the company. And when I did that, we started meeting. I started meeting, having coffee and lunch with different individuals. And it's crazy how just a simple lunch, a simple coffee, a simple conversation about their business, to actually know about their business, and leads to business so quickly. And I would say in the last 3 months that I've been on my own, push, I've gone from 0 clients to 25 clients, so it just, you just gotta put yourself out there. And that's on the old school. Then when you take the new school, which is the social media, then you gotta be really strong in social media. And when I say really strong, you gotta every week think about, okay, I have to make a post this week, what I'm gonna post this week. And that's part of my everyday, operation of the firm. It's like, all right, I already have 3 posts for the next 3 weeks, and so like this podcast, I already know when I'm gonna do this on social media. So it's just being aware that it's not now, word of mouth. It's more about, what you actually show people that you're doing. And also I think as a young attorney, when you are in social media, some of the people that are there are friends or family. Those friends and family have seen you when you were a kid, when you were just, a server, when I was a server at a restaurant. How do you take them from being a server or being a friend to actually trust you as an attorney, right? So you show them that in social media. You show them that you also do all the type of things, not just play soccer on Mondays,
That's really cool. And I really like the old school marketing aspect. I did the exact same thing when I went out on my own. Number one, I fully committed. So I made sure that every person that I knew in my life, whether it was a relative or a friend or a coworker, knew what I was doing. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of just kind of keep it on the down low. And it's almost like they're hedging their bets, in case this thing doesn't work out. I don't want to be embarrassed. I won't tell too many people. Correct. I think it's just the opposite. You got to go all in. So I went old school just like you. I told everybody, and I printed up an announcement. And so anyone that I had a mailing address for that I knew for any reason whatsoever, they got it. So I sent out only about 250 because I don't have a lot of mailing addresses these days. But that kicked it off, and I got a bunch of leads out of that. I got a job or 2 out of that. And then I went to the new school, just like you're saying, like social media and everything else. And so like the combination of the two is really, really powerful. I really like what you've done there.
No, I think also when you're actually meeting them, it is difficult sometimes to convey this over, a Zoom call, or when you're actually in front of them and you're telling, that You want to be their counselor. That you're not going to charge you for every text message that they send you. That you're not going to charge them for every 10-minute call. Like, some firms, charge you when you call them on a Sunday. If you call them on Saturday at 2 p.m., they charge you more. I'm not going to be that person. I want to be an attorney for my clients for the next 40 years. I want to be with them from being a small, big enough. I want to be that person. I want to be in their journey. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I've had previous attorneys, not my current ones, where we'll get on the phone and it just feels like they're rambling.
Correct.
And then I get the bill.
Correct.
Yeah, if they get an extra 1/10 of an hour, they'll keep talking. And so that's been a little bit of frustrating. So I think it's good that like your clients can reach out to you whenever they want. I love that.
Yeah. And the reason also that I left, the big firms is just you don't get that personal relationship. You don't get that personal touch with your clients. You also have so many clients that you kind of at some point that gets lost. And at some point that you don't have that touch. And I need to get there in order to see if it is possible to still be able to do what I do. I'm not gonna say that because I'm not at that point yet, but I think I want to be able to, even if I get that big, my goal, right? So even if other people are going to do the work, my goal is to be able to be that relationship. Going to be when I'm 100, 2,000 attorneys on my firm, my job is going to be to overlook, but having that relationship with the client, just to know that the clients, whenever they have an issue with any of my attorneys, they can call me and say, "Hey, Karel, this is happening. What can we do?" And I'll fix it for them.
I love it. Yeah. Certainly hiring people that are relationship people, that makes a big difference too, because it's hard to keep touch of all of your clients at a certain point, and you want to, but so I know you're relatively young as far as the company goes. So you've talked about like old school marketing tactics, basically going out to your network and activating your network. Fantastic idea. You've talked about social media. Are there other marketing strategies that you're employing right now or thinking of employing to get business?
So I think for now, I think maybe what I'll do is I'll join some organizations. I'll try to join some organizations that is not legal organizations, because I'm really involved with the Hispanic National Bar Association. At some point, I was the national president for the law student division. I'm involved with the Cuban American Bar Association, which is a organization here in Miami. But I realized that as an attorney, it's kind of difficult. I mean, those are good to actually have social referrals or actually meet other attorneys, but not so much good of actually having clients. Yes, you sometimes get some referrals from some, but that maybe what I should do is I should join other organizations that you have an accountant, that you have a marketing guy, that you have different people that then they basically could be your clients, and not only that, but they could basically refer you people because they don't do that type of thing, So
yeah, no. So marketing within your industry, basically, right, and then outside of it as well. I think that's a very valid point, and I've done a lot of that as well here at Array Digital. Is sometimes I'll be in groups of other digital marketers, and I'm learning, but I'm networking, and sometimes I get referrals, but I'm not there to actually get leads. I'm there to learn and to contribute and whatnot. And if something positive comes out of it, fantastic.
And then for me, it's always been, because again, I came here by myself, no family, so on my own. I needed to create like a family, right? So I needed to create that legal family, and that's what I've done since first day of law school. I actually knew since first day of law school that I needed to network. That was, my goal. Good grades, I needed to do that, but network was my number one priority. I needed to know every single attorney in town. I needed to actually go to every single event. And I did it. I was always up there. They will call me the king of networking. In school, I did a networking 101 class. And, because I realized that, sometimes is that what you know is who you know. And it takes you to a different level, because now it's not only to give you also a friendship, to actually have that friendship with people that have been in the industry for so many years, that actually know how to do things better than you. I can give you advice. A lot of those attorneys now that I went on my own, I called them and I asked, hey, I had this issue, how should I do it? And actually, met them when I was, networking, when I was in law school and all that. So I always like that. I always like to meet people. So that's why when you reach out to me saying, hey, listen, I was all for it. Yeah.
That's, I totally agree. It's really important to be, well, frankly, a people person. If you're going to start your own practice or your own company and you're an introvert, you've got a challenge ahead of you. You have to break out of the mold. Like, honestly, like if it weren't for the company, I don't think I'd be doing these lives. I don't think I'd be doing social media quite the way that I do, but I do it because I know that there's a benefit to the company. So right. I have to break out of my own comfort a little bit, and as do you, as does everyone else. But hey, like Joshua said, lots of great info here. One last question, and then we can kind of wrap it up. I wanted to find out, you kind of hinted about it, I think, but what are your growth plans for the next 5 or 10 years?
So also the idea behind the legal team is because I don't want to be changing the name of the firm every time that a new partner comes in. So I thought about that even, before, during the pandemic. This is crazy, right? During the pandemic, I'm thinking that my company is going to grow into like 100 attorneys, and I don't want to be fighting about the name, right? But you always got to, like that. You always got to, you're just going to do your best and everything is going to come out. And so what I thought was like, I need a name that, what I said, that I'm going to use it for be the legal team of my clients, but also that I can actually have a legal team that when a client calls me for whatever reason, I have attorneys that do business immigration. I have attorneys that do employment law. And because, for example, what I do, and I haven't mentioned it yet, what I do is I'll do civil and commercial litigation, and I do some corporate law. But also what I've done in the past, and then now I guess with the new administration, it might start again. I've been helping U.S. companies that want to enter into the Cuba market. Because again, I'm Cuban. I left Cuba when I was 19. I have a lot of contacts in there. And during the Obama administration, I helped a lot of companies. I actually flew with a lot of companies to Cuba that wanted to enter into the Cuba market. So I helped them with the OFAC regulation, with the Treasury regulations. So that's kind of like, what I do. But again, I'm not a I want to do it all, and I want to be able to bring people that are experts or really good at what they do, and being able to say, listen, you came maybe because of me, but listen, I brought this guy because I trust him. I actually, I work with him, I've seen his work, and I know also his relationship to the clients. Because for me, I mean, maybe I repeated too much, but for me, that's my number one priority is that relationship with the client. That for me, I guess I worked for 6 years in a restaurant, and clients is always first. Right, and that got into my head, and it's true. Clients is always the first in my list.
You said you've said it a couple times, but it's because it's important, right? The relationships are the key here, and especially in the line of business that you're in, like you have to have a personal relationship with your clients.
Right.
Very, very important. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate your time. Where can people find out more about you?
So the legal team, you can actually the website is www.legalteamservices.com. My email
I'm sorry,
is
it broke up a little. I think
legalteamservices.com. What is it?
Can you say that one more time?
What is it?
Can you say that name one more time? The website?
It will be www.legalteamservices.com, or you can send me an email at ksuarez@legalteamservices.com. More than welcome to talk to anybody, to actually, discuss. If you have any other issues that I don't do, I'll be more than happy to recommend you, the right person for you, based on, what your issues are, based on the amount of budget you have to spend. But again, it's the relationship that I'm looking for, not so much, a client that I see once and then I don't see anymore.
Awesome. Well, everybody, I think you'll agree that Karel has a lot of really good information to share. I appreciate your time, Karel. And for everyone listening or watching, if you are a managing partner and you're looking more marketing services, in particular websites, SEO, and advertising, reach out to Array Digital. Thanks so much, Karel.
Thank you, Eric.